For this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at frequency tables and histograms. A frequency table has to do with the count, or how often a certain event occurs. So we see here we have the number of points scored by one player each game of his basketball season, and then we have all the different amounts of points that he scored. We want to make a frequency table, and then we're going to make a histogram of the same data. So points scored we see is on the left, and we see there's kind of some buckets there. So we have the bucket of 9 to 11 points, 12 to 14, 15 to 17, 18 to 20, and 21 to 23. So we'll go through our data and we'll see what goes in each bucket. So 9 to 11, okay, so 12, no, so we've got 10, so there's 1, there's another 10, so that would be 2, 9 is 3, and that's everything for there. So that occurs, or the frequency of him scoring between 9 and 11 points was 3 times, okay? All right, now we'll go to our 12 to 14. So we got 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 times on that one, okay? All right, now let's look at our 15 to 17. Looks like 1 and 2. All right, so we got 2 on that one. All right, and then we have 18 to 20. 1, 2 on that one. And finally, we have 21 to 23. We have 2. All right, it's always good to cross those numbers off as you're going through so that you make sure that you did not forget something there. So I look back through, all of my numbers are crossed out, so I have not missed anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this information, okay, points scored, those buckets there, and then the frequency, how often each of those occurred, and I'm going to convert those to a histogram. A histogram looks a lot like a bar graph. The difference is in a bar graph, the bars are separate. In a histogram, they are not. So I'll have my different categories here on the bottom. So we've got our 9 to 11 points, and then we've got our 12 to 14, our 15 to 17, 18 to 20, and finally 21 to 23, okay? So now what I'm going to do, well, first I'm going to label on the side. So we'll say this was 1 for a frequency of 1. That would indicate a frequency of 2, and to there indicates a frequency of 3. So 9 to 11 was frequency of 3, so that piece of the histogram needs to go up to there. For 12 to 14, that was also 3, so that part is going to have the same height. And 15 to 17, now we are at 2, so I'll come down here to 2. Okay, and then 18 to 20, we're also at 2, so it's going to have that same height. And lastly, 21 to 23, also 2, so we're going to have that same height there. So that is 2 different ways representing the same data. We have our frequency table, and then we have our histogram. All right, the next type is what we call a cumulative frequency table, which is very similar to what we just have, except we're going to add an extra column in here. We're going to add this column for cumulative frequency, okay? But we're going to start off the same. So we've got our different buckets here. Okay, so we've got our different buckets, 2 to 13, then we've got 14 to 25, 26 to 37, 38 to 49, and 50 to 61. Okay, so frequency in each of these. So let's start with our 2 to 13, and these are number of minutes spent getting ready in the morning before school. All right, so 2 to 13, so it looks like we got 1, 2, and is that it? Didn't miss anything. That looks good. Okay, so 2. All right, 14 to 25. So it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 6. All right, and now we're 26 to 37. 1, 2. Okay, don't think I missed any on there. 2, and last, or second to last, 38 to 49. 1, 2, 3. And finally 50 to 61. 1, 2. 2 would fall in that category there. Okay, so there's our frequency, same as we did on our last one. Again, make sure we didn't miss anything up top there. For our cumulative frequency, what we're looking at then is cumulative, or a sum of what we have at that point. So I look here, 2 to 13 minutes. How many took 2 to 13? Well, 2 took 2 to 13. And the cumulative frequency, or how many total frequencies I have at that point, is also 2. All right. Now, if we come down here, okay, so 14 to 25 minutes, we had 6, but the cumulative frequency at that point, well, I had 2 in the first category, now I have 6, so my cumulative frequency is 8. All right, now coming down again, 26 to 37, 2 more in that category, so my cumulative frequency is now 10. 38 to 49, there were 3, so my cumulative frequency is now 13. And finally, cumulative frequency, 50 to 61 adds 2, so we have 15. Now, if I come up to my original data, count how many things I had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that number will always match the final number in my cumulative frequency. And we've got this little question here: how many students spend 30 or more minutes getting ready in the morning? Well, that kind of fell in between one of our ones there. So we had 26 to 37 on our number of minutes there, so somewhere in there. So we know at least the yellow and the black columns there. And then if we come up to our green, more than 30, well, those two were exactly 30. So it looks like just those yellow and black, which would give us 5. So 5 spent 30 or more, so I guess we do need to include those. So 30 or more gives us 7. All right, last thing for us to take a look at here is some special types of histograms. So when histograms look a certain way, we can have special names for those histograms, and we have the 3 different special types here. So the first one here on the left, when we look at this, we see that all of the bars are very similar in their height. They're not all exactly the same height, but they're all very close. When all the bars are very close to being the same height, we say that pattern is uniform. Uniform, all being the same. If everyone wears a uniform, they all look the same. So that's the name for that one. The second one here, okay, if we think of this one here, if this guy here was kind of like my middle, we've got 5 bars, if that was in the middle. And then we look at the other sides, so then we kind of look at this one, and then this bar and this bar. Well, if we drew this line down through the middle here, we notice how it looks pretty symmetric, or the same, on both sides of that line, on both sides of this graph. So when that happens, we do have the special type that we call this is symmetric. All right, symmetric meaning it is the same on both sides there. All right, so we got uniform, we got symmetric, and now in our last one here, okay, this one doesn't have anything going on. They're clearly not all the same height. If we took the middle one here, so if that was this one here, if this was kind of my middle, and I look to the left and the right of it, well, it's not symmetric, doesn't seem to be close to the same on both sides. So when neither of those two situations fit, it's not uniform, it's not symmetric, we call this skewed. And that means there is no pattern in that data. All right, that's it for this lesson. Hopefully this will help you to complete your assignment.